Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got for you this beautiful fall inspired set. While I show you the items that I'm going to be using for this set, I do want to remind you to hit subscribe and the notification bell so that you never miss out on a video. So I'm just going to be using some glitter and some nail art liquids, some hard gel, and I've already applied my tips, shaped and filed and buffed them, and applied my base coat. So now I'm just going to start with a slip layer of my hard gel. So to do the slip layer, I always start by creating a wall around the cuticle. I just get that pushed in front of my brush up to the cuticle as close as I can get it without touching the skin, and then I follow through by pulling that wall I've created onto the rest of the nail. Once I have created the slip layer, I do grab another bead of the hard gel and I apply that onto the nail. The slip layer just helps it to kind of go where it needs to go and self-level really nicely. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to be doing the sandwiching technique today where you add multiple layers. It creates a lot of depth and dimension in the nail, and because I'm doing it this way, I do want to make sure this first layer of hard gel is extremely thin. Otherwise, it's going to build up too fast and you're going to get a real fat nail, which you'll see what that looks like here in a little while. I had to go in and fix it later. So what I'm doing now is I left the inhibition tacky layer from the hard gel after I cured it for a minute. It was fully cured, but I left the inhibition layer because I want this first layer to be the background and to be very blended, very soft, very light. If I had removed the inhibition layer, it would be a lot more pigmented, a lot more detailed, and that is not what I wanted for this first layer. So I'm just using some orange and yellow, and I'm just dotting that around the nail where I want it to be. And then I'm going to create some brown as well. You can create brown by combining any two complementary colors, which are colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. Now, because I was already using orange, I added blue to create my brown. Yes, I could have gone with the purple and yellow. However, it would have created a more grayish brown, where the blue and orange together creates a very warm brown and matches this set very well. So that alcohol does evaporate very, very quickly. So you'll see here in the future, I do keep my pot covered with the lid while I'm working with it. That way it doesn't evaporate, because there goes all the brown I just made. So once I've got that added on, I just gave it a flash cure just to make sure it was dried properly, since it was laid into that inhibition layer. And now I'm just going in with my hard gel again. I did again start with my slip layer, and then I added my other bead to give it some strength and create my second layer. Now I'm going to remove my inhibition layer and I'm going to buff the nail with an 80 grit buffer by Nail Couture. This is one of my favorite nail buffers. So you want to buff the nail, because if you don't, this gel is too slick and the blooming art liquid would just beat up on the surface. It wouldn't sink into the nail at all. But once it's been buffed, it sets really nicely. So just make sure you buff the nail and you'll be good to go. So I just took a lint-free nail wipe and some alcohol and cleaned off all of the extra nail dust. And now I'm going to go in with my second layer of art inks. So I'm just going to dot the colors in anywhere that I think that they need to go. And to get more detail and vibrancy, what I do is I lay down the color and then I kind of dot over that same area multiple times. It really gives it a nice vibrancy and a lot of detail to the edges. Then I'm going to mix up some more of my brown. I add quite a bit of orange to it, and I only add one, like, kind of pull off the brush of the blue. Then I tested the color to make sure it was what I liked, and it is. So I'm going to keep that pot covered with the lid in the background, and I'm going to add the brown into the nail. Anytime I wet my brush, I just quickly dip into the color and put the lid right back on. And I'm focusing this brown along the edge of my natural nail free edge where the tip has been placed. because that way it'll help cover that line and make everything very blended and really, really pretty. I did add quite a bit of brown because it adds a lot of depth and a lot of detail, which is exactly what I wanted. Now, because this gel was not laid into the inhibition layer, I wanted to make sure it didn't bleed when I apply my hard gel. So I just went in with a thin coat of base coat and I just floated that over the alcohol inks. Then I cured that, and now I'm going in with my final capping coat of hard gel. Again, starting with a slip layer, and then I'll follow through, feather that over the rest of the nail, and then I will add my bead on top and blend that over the rest of the nail. I do always tip my nail upside down before I go into the lamp, just to make sure I've got a good apex and everything centered. Now this is the nail I was telling you where you will see what I did by creating too much of an arch, too much of a nail too quickly. So originally I thought I was going to go in with one layer of glitter and just encapsulate it. So I added a good base hard gel like you saw on the first, but it was thicker. Now I'm just going in and patting on the glitter and kind of feathering it up onto the natural nail to cover that line. Then once that has been added, I am just going on with some base gel, so that way I can encapsulate the glitter, but it's not going to get caught in my hard gel and it's not going to contaminate my brush and my pot. It just makes it easier for me to cover it with some base gel. It's not necessary to do that, but for me, it made it a lot easier. So I floated that on top. I made sure to wipe off my brush before I went back into the pot. And now I'm just going in with my capping layer, or what I thought was my capping layer of hard gel. I did notice I got quite a few bubbles in these nails, and it was because of the circular motions I was doing. So if you get a kind of bigger glob, it's easier to do the windshield wiper motions, kind of going back and forth side to side, and that helps keep you from getting air bubbles. When you do those small circles, it kind of mixes the gel up and traps air in there, which is what gave me the bubbles. So once I created that extra layer of hard gel, I noticed my glitter was not as opaque as I wanted it to be on the free edge. So I ended up adding some more glitter. What I should have done was filed down some of the hard gel so that there was just a very thin layer after that last layer of glitter, and then added my additional layer of glitter, but I didn't. So I just went on top with more glitter, and this made for a very thick nail that I had to file down a ton later, and I filed off half of this layer of glitter that you're seeing me apply now. So basically, after I'd fixed the nail later by filing it down, I just added a layer of base gel and patted the glitter on top of that, and then top coated it. I didn't add any more hard gel because I didn't want to add any more thickness. And when I did add that last layer of glitter, I patted it on with the brush and then pressed it in with my finger just to lay it down flat. If you want it to have more dimension, don't press it flat, but I did want it to lay down, so pressing it flat worked beautifully. That's not what you're seeing here. I had not fixed the nail completely yet. I will let you know. You'll see that in just a moment. So I'm just giving the top coat to these nails, and then I'm going to go over my other nails with this brown color by Beetles Gel Polish. I do use 2 coats of this color, but I'm only going to show you one. It's not really necessary to show both. I love this color though, and I actually had a friend suggest that I make these matte because I wanted to add bling to these brown nails, but the only gold bling I have It kind of loses its gold coating after like a day unless you top coat it. And if you top coat it, it loses a little bit of its shape. I didn't want those on these nails, and I didn't have any other gold bling. I didn't have any gold studs or anything like that, so I left it without the bling. Made me sad. I need to get some so I can add it. And even orange bling would have worked beautifully, but I don't have any. The only ones that I have are like an AB color, and that wouldn't have worked with this set. But I am going to matte out the brown nails because I think that'll look beautiful. This is where the shape of the glitter nail has been fixed. It's a lot better than it was, so I've top coated it again. And I apologize for my pointer finger. It's got some owies along the cuticle. That's not from filing or anything. That's because I was stressed out and I bit at my skin. I know, bad nail tech, I know. That is it, guys. Make sure you let me know what you think down below. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!